Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Monday, December the 20th. We got a 6-game Monday slate, and as always guys, we're going to go game by game. We're going to talk through each game on this slate. We're going to break down each team, give my thoughts, what does stand out to me looking at the slate the night before on Sunday night. And then as we do go through each game, we'll build out an early core. 5 guys I specifically like for Draftkings and for Yahoo. Now as always, when it comes to NBA, especially at this point in the season where we are with COVID, with, so many guys getting ruled out every day, you have to pay attention to the injury report. You have to pay attention to news during the day. The core I give out in this video is not set in stone. These guys are not guaranteed to be in my lineup. I provide a lot more updated content over on Patreon after we get updated injury news, after we get like COVID news, because, at this point, it seems like every day guys are getting ruled out for COVID protocols. And for all we know, guys could get ruled out today that we don't expect to be out. So make sure you're paying attention to the news. If you do enjoy these first look videos and you want more content from me, you can check out the Patreon link down below in the description. Get all of my updated content over there. I also get some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks. I do give those out for Patreon members. And moving forward, I will actually be giving out the entries I am playing myself. So the entries I'm putting my own money on, I will be sharing those with everyone on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon member, you can get exactly what I'm playing on Prize Picks each day, along with some of my favorite picks. That's all available for Patreon members. Plus, you get my DFS content. You get in our Discord chat as well. If that's something that does interest you, go sign up for Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. Also, if you have not yet, sign up for Prize Picks. Use promo code NOAH when you do check them out. They will give you a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100, and you can take a look at what Prize Picks has to offer. Take a look at their platform. As you can see, it's basically like a player prop site. You pick the over or the under. It is very simple. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on Prize Picks. They have a ton of sports available. You can mix and match sports. We do have 2 football games on Monday night, so you could do like a couple NFL picks and then a couple NBA picks. It's whatever you want to do. You mix and match sports. You make it 2 picks. You can make 5 picks. You can win up to 10 extra money. Check out Prize Picks, guys, and sign up. Use code NOAH when you do, and they'll match your first deposit up to $100. And again, if you want some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks, along with the entries that I'm playing myself, you can sign up and become a Patreon member. Link down below in the description. But let's take a look at Monday's 6-game slate. We're going to start off with the Sixers and Celtics game. So on the Sixers side today, this team got hit by COVID, the COVID protocols pretty hard. Andre Drummond, Shake Milton both got put in COVID protocols recently, I think on Saturday. Their game actually got postponed, or Sunday, excuse me. Their game actually got postponed Sunday. They were supposed to play the Pelicans, and that game got postponed. But they will be playing, or they should be playing the Celtics today. So Joel Embiid, he was questionable for Sunday's game. Ultimately, the game didn't happen, so we don't really know if Embiid would have played or not. I'd expect Embiid to play today, especially since they got an extra day of rest. But obviously, this is huge news with Embiid being questionable. If he does not play, obviously with Drummond out as well, that basically leaves like Charles Bassey and Paul Reed as the next available bigs for Philly. So this would definitely be a team we could look to for value if Embiid gets ruled out. Guys like Bassey and Reed, whichever one were to start, I think would be a really, really strong value play. You would get more usage for Tobias Harris, more usage for Tyrese Maxey. Those guys would look a lot better too if Embiid sits. But if Embiid plays, it's really tough to get too excited about many Sixers because all these guys are kind of expensive. They don't really stand out at their price points. The matchup against the Celtics is not great. For me, it's just a wait and see on Embiid's status. If he plays, I'm probably just kind of off mostly all the Sixers, excuse me. I will say, though, that Embiid himself, he's always in play. I don't think he really stands out on this slate. I think I'd rather play Steph Curry over Embiid, and they're similarly priced. But Embiid's obviously viable, if he does wind up playing here. On the Celtics side, though, so this is a big injury with Jason Tatum being questionable. I'm pretty sure this is, if Tatum were to miss today, I think this would be the first game that he's missed all season. I may be wrong there, but we'll have to keep an eye on the status of Jason Tatum. That's obviously huge news. If Jason Tatum gets ruled out, we kind of know who's going to benefit. Jaylen Brown, Dennis Schroeder, Marcus Smart. Dennis Schroeder is also questionable himself, so this is kind of really important. By some chance, if Tatum and Schroeder both get ruled out, then man, like Jaylen Brown, I know he's not been great lately, but he's looked a little bit better as of late. He really struggled during that stretch where he was kind of banged up, but since he's come back from injury, he's looked a little bit better. He's been a little bit more productive. 40 DK points last game against the Knicks in 32 minutes. His minutes have slowly started to creep up. The fantasy point per minute production's been better for Brown as of late. At 9K, I think I'd only be considering him today if Tatum gets ruled out. But yeah, if Tatum does sit, I definitely would like Jaylen Brown. I think Dennis Schroeder, if he were to play, would look pretty good. If he were to get ruled out, then we could look to a guy like Marcus Smart. And then Tatum, Tatum himself, if he winds up playing, I think at 10,500 on this slate specifically, we don't have a ton of great pay-up options. I think Tatum is someone we can definitely look to pay up for now. It does feel like you're kind of overpaying for him right now, but with how these slates have been going, like it's just every day we're having so much value because guys are just getting ruled out left and right that it opens up a ton of value. I don't know if that's how this slate's going to go. We'll have to wait and see what kind of news we get during the day. But if we do get a lot of value, I mean, Tatum is someone you can always pay up for. You know, if we are able to get him in. But right now, I'm not prioritizing any Celtics. Again, this game in general is just kind of a wait and see when it comes to news with Embiid questionable, with Tatum questionable. I will say that, you know, Robert Williams has been starting at center lately with Al Horford out. He's been getting pretty decent minutes. He played 37 minutes against the Warriors. Last game against the Knicks, he played 29 minutes. I think we probably get like 30 to 32 minutes from Robert Williams here. Now, his fantasy point per minute production this year has not been nearly as good as it has been in previous seasons. I still think he'd be playable. The matchup against Embiid, assuming Embiid were to play, you know, that's obviously not a matchup that we really like. But I think if, you know, Robert Williams does wind up playing over 30 minutes, he's still a pretty decent option at 5,700. But I think we can move on to the next game now, talk about Houston and Chicago. So on Houston, we got to wait and see here with Armoni Brooks. This is probably the big injury to talk about. I mean, I know it doesn't sound like a big injury, but Armoni Brooks is questionable. And with him out last game, we actually did see Josh Christopher start in place of Armoni Brooks. And Josh Christopher actually played a decent amount of minutes. He was pretty productive. He had 26 DK points in 28 minutes. He's only 3,900 today. I think Josh Christopher would actually be a pretty decent value play here if Armoni Brooks gets ruled out. He would probably be my favorite play in general from this Rockets team. You know, Christian Wood at his price point, you're kind of overpaying for him right now. He doesn't really project well at his price tag. I think he can still have success in this matchup. I think he can still do well, but I don't love Christian Wood. I think Jayshawn Tate at 6,100, price where he should be. I don't think he really stands out either, but he's playable. You know, we have seen a big ceiling from Jayshawn Tate this year. I know he had a game earlier this season where he went like nuts. He went for like 70 DK points. You know, Şengün, now that Wood's back, I don't really like. Eric Gordon at 5,700, I think is fine. If this game stays close, we're going to get like 30, 32 minutes from Eric Gordon. His production's been a little bit better lately. You know, with Kevin Porter Jr. out, with Jalen Green out, we're seeing Eric Gordon basically be like the point guard. He's been getting, you know, a lot of minutes at point guard. He's handling the ball a lot. 5,700, he'd be playable, but I don't think he'd be a great play in general. Yeah, it's really I think just waiting to see if Armoni Brooks plays. If he does get ruled out, then I actually would like Josh Christopher for value. He would be the one guy that I think, you know, from Houston that would really stand out today. Now on the Chicago side, we do know Zach LaVine's going to, you know, still be out for health and safety protocol, so we kind of know who's going to benefit without LaVine. It's going to be, you know, DeRozan, Vooch, and Lonzo, the three main guys. DeRozan at 9,300. You know, he feels priced about right on this slate, but obviously the matchup is really good against the Rockets. The Rockets have been one of the fastest-paced teams in the league this year. Defensively, they haven't really been a great team either. I think DeRozan's price, again, I think it's where it should be, but DeRozan does have upside. He did have a big game against the Lakers on Sunday night. I think he went for over 50 fantasy points. Yeah, 51 fantasy points, 38 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists for DeRozan. Fine play. Same with Vooch at 9,100. I will say that if you play on Yahoo, I like Vooch a lot there. He's only $33. He's $5 less than DeRozan. I think DeRozan and Vooch are both pretty good plays on Yahoo, but especially Vooch at $33. At 9,100 on Draftkings, I think he's playable, but I probably would rather play DeRozan if I can find the salary. And then Lonzo at 7,700, another guy that, you know, feels priced where he should be, but I think his upside is definitely higher without Zach LaVine out there. Only 34 fantasy points in 38 minutes from Lonzo in Sunday night's game against the Lakers, but again, another good matchup here against the Rockets. Should be a relatively fast-paced game. I think Lonzo's fine. I don't think any of the main Chicago guys where they're priced at. I don't think they were like core plays for me, at least not on DraftKings, but they're all viable tournament options. Caruso, he's going to play pretty big minutes. I think at 5,100, he's kind of priced where he should be as well, but he's at least playable. Derrick Jones Jr. got injured in Sunday's game and didn't return, so he probably won't play today. I don't know if that's going to matter too much. Javonte Green did start. He played over 30 minutes. You know, if you want to go there for 3,100, he could be a viable punt play, but we've seen, you know, Javonte Green, even when he does start, doesn't really offer a ton of upside. So that's really it from this game. We can move on to the next one, OKC and Memphis. So OKC, they're one of the few teams right now that's actually healthy. They're not missing like anyone. I think the only guys are out is this. I don't even know how to say this guy's name. I don't even know if he's even on the roster or like the active roster. I think he's been out like all season. So like they really have everyone healthy right now. So it's actually tough to kind of say that there's really any great plays from OKC. This is normally a team I don't really roster guys from anyway. I try and just stay away from playing Thunder guys. On this slate specifically, I don't really think I'm going to play anyone from OKC. if I were to play somebody, it would be SGA, just because I think SGA is the guy that offers the most upside, has the biggest ceiling. But at 8,600, I don't love that price point on him. I think Giddey's kind of overpriced right now. Lou Dort, I don't want to pay 6,100 for. I'll be honest, like OKC, I mean, they're just kind of a full fade for me. Now on the Memphis side, there are a decent amount of guys I think we can go to here. Triple J at 6,700. Look, he in typical Triple J fashion Sunday against Portland fouled out in 20 minutes, only had 16 DK points. We always talk about how Triple J, he's a guy that cannot seem to stay out of foul trouble. It seems like he's always fouling guys. But when he does stay out of foul trouble, when he does play his normal 30, 32 minutes, we've seen him put up big games. I know against this OKC team earlier this year when it was a massive blowout, he only played 20 minutes, but he put up 42 DraftKings points in 20 minutes. Like, he went nuts against the Thunder earlier this season in limited minutes. Obviously, there's blowout potential here. Same thing could happen. He could play limited minutes because the game blows out. But I think if the game does stay close and Triple J stays out of foul trouble, a lot of ifs there. But if those things all go the way that we want them to, Triple J definitely offers a lot of upside here in a really good matchup against a bad Thunder team. So I kind of like Triple J at 6,700. I think Dillon Brooks, with Ja still out, we're going to see Dillon Brooks play big minutes on a nightly basis. We're going to see him take a ton of shots. I mean, Sunday night against Portland, 25 shots for Dillon Brooks, 49 DraftKings points. I mean, the opportunity is going to be there. He just got to make his shots. He is another guy that kind of struggles with fouls. He does foul a lot, but I think most nights, as long as he's not in foul trouble, we will get 34, 35 minutes from Dillon Brooks, and his ceiling is definitely a lot higher with Ja Morant off the floor. We saw that Sunday night with him putting up, nearly 50 DraftKings points. Desmond Bane, Tyus Jones, I think they're probably just secondary options. I would definitely prefer like Triple J and Brooks over those two, but Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones are both going to play over 30 minutes, and they're viable plays. Steven Adams at 5K is a fine option. I do kind of question like his ceiling. I think the matchup against OKC is pretty good. He did play 36 minutes on Sunday night against Portland. He's been getting pretty good minutes lately, at least 30 minutes in 3 straight games. Again, at 5K, like, does Steven Adams have slate winning upside? Probably not, but I think he's a very safe option. I think he's pretty likely to give you 5 to 6x value, which at this point, I don't know how much that's even like worth at this point. But I think Steven Adams can give us 25, 30 DK points. Feels like a fine option. Do question his ceiling though, if he's a guy that I'd really be, run into roster like in GPPs or anything. That's it though for Memphis. We can move on to the next game, talk about Charlotte and Utah. So Charlotte, tough spot here on the road against Utah. This is also a back-to-back for them. They did play Sunday night against Phoenix, and they got the shit beat out of them. They lost by 31. LaMelo and basically every other starter played limited minutes because it was such a blowout. I'd assume that, since it was a blowout Sunday and these guys played limited minutes, that they should be good to go for Monday's game, even in a back-to-back. So I would expect LaMelo to probably play his normal minutes. Now, he's only played 2 games since coming back from COVID protocols. First game against Portland, which was a close game, he played 29 minutes, and then Phoenix Sunday night, he only played 25 minutes, but we have to factor in that it was a blowout. He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. He probably would have played like 30, 32, 33 minutes. I'd assume if it was a close game, he would have played at least like 6 or 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. So I think we do get at least 30 minutes from LaMelo. I think he's more of a contrarian option in a tough matchup, but definitely viable because we know the upside is there for LaMelo. The rest of the Hornets, though, like, all these guys are priced up now because, for when LaMelo was out. So I don't think there's too much that stands out from Charlotte outside of LaMelo as just like a tournament dart throw. Cody Martin is out now, so that does tighten up this rotation even more. I do think we will see pretty big minutes for the main Charlotte guys, but where they're priced at in a tough matchup, I don't know if they're really, like, core plays for me. Mason Plumlee, like, in this spot against Rudy Gobert, like, I would think they're going to want Mason Plumlee out there as much as possible. His minutes have not been good lately, 17 and 16 minutes the last 2 games, but yeah, like against Gobert, I want to say that Plumlee's going to be out there a decent amount. He's probably just a tournament dart throw, but at 4K, like if Mason Plumlee does play more minutes than we expect, he's a guy that can actually produce at a pretty high rate and could give you a good score at his 4K salary. But there's no standout plays from Charlotte today. It's a tough team to get too excited about. And then on the Utah side, it's a really good matchup here for Utah, but like all these guys are really expensive. Donovan Mitchell's 9,700, Rudy Gobert's 9,200. The rest of the Jazz, like Mike Conley, Jordan Clarkson, I never play these guys when the team's fully healthy. Clarkson and Joe Ingles, obviously last slate were pretty good with Conley out. Now that Conley's back, it's tough to get excited about them. I think Mitchell and Gobert would be the 2 guys we would really want to focus on from Utah, but where they're priced at, again, it's really tough to get excited about them. I will say that if you do play on Yahoo, it's a lot easier to get to them on Yahoo. Like on Yahoo, Donovan Mitchell's only $34. comparing price points, he's the same price tag. Let's see. So he's the same price tag as Miles Bridges. He's only $1 more than Vooch. I think Donovan Mitchell looks a lot better on Yahoo. Rudy Gobert, $38 on Yahoo. Like, he's the same price tag as DeRozan. I think he's a guy that I would be a lot more likely to roster there. Don't think I'm going to play these guys on DraftKings, but maybe on Yahoo, given they're a little bit cheaper, given how good the matchup is against Charlotte, I think I definitely could see going to Mitchell or Gobert, because it would not be surprising if one of those guys puts up a ceiling game here. Just with how bad defensively this Charlotte team has been, with how fast how fast they do play, pace wise, they're fourth in pace on the season. I do have some tournament interest in Mitchell and Gobert, more so on Yahoo than DraftKings. But we can move on to the next game. So this is probably by far the most appealing game to target, just given how shorthanded both these teams are, Sacramento and Golden State. So Sacramento on Sunday, they pretty much ran like an 8-man rotation. Almost, I want to say they even ran like a 7-man rotation. They ran things super, super tight. They gave heavy minutes to their main guys, Halliburton, Hield, Harrison Barnes. Halliburton played 37, Hield played 39, Harrison Barnes played 40. And then off the bench, you had Mo Harkless played 32, Damian Jones played 19, and then Jamias Ramsey, he played 8 minutes, and Robinson played 2 minutes. So Ramsey and Robinson played a combined 10 minutes. Everyone else played at least 28 minutes or more. So we kind of know where the minutes are going to go on the Sacramento team now. On a back-to-back, could they, maybe not play these guys as many minutes? I guess it's possible, but I think if we do get a close game here, if this game stays close, I think we're getting 36, close to 40 minutes from Halliburton, from Harrison Barnes, from Buddy Hield. Metu played over 30 minutes. Like, all these guys look really, really appealing today. Halliburton at 7K, I like a lot. Like, he's just been so good these last few games without De'Aaron Fox. He should continue to dominate the usage, continue to have the ball in his hands a ton. Back-to-back, massive games for him. 47 DK points against Memphis, 54 DK points against San Antonio on Sunday night. Again, 38 minutes, 37 minutes. The Sacramento team is just so depleted right now. They're one of the teams that's really depleted with COVID. Fox out, Bagley out, Davis, Lynn, Mitchell, all these guys out right now. Rashawn Holmes has been dealing with an eye injury. He was out, or he was questionable for Sunday, did not play. Pretty good chance he doesn't play again. So yeah, really, really like Halliburton. Really like Buddy Hield too at 5,800. Now, Buddy Hield, kind of a riskier option because he is a really scoring-dependent player. He's a guy that doesn't offer much in terms of peripherals. He's not going to get a ton of rebounds. He's not going to get a ton of assists, but he's going to shoot the ball a lot because they don't really have anyone else to shoot the ball. They need offense, and Buddy Hield can definitely provide that. The minutes are going to be there. We've seen the last 2 games in the starting lineup. He's played 37 and 40 minutes. At 5,800, I really like Buddy Hield too. I think he's a really good play. I like him a lot on Yahoo. Like, all these guys look super, super appealing. He's only $19 on Yahoo. Definitely like Buddy Hield there. I skipped over Harrison Barnes, but I think Harrison Barnes at 6K, a guy that I really hate playing, but he's going to play a ton. 36 minutes against Memphis, 40 minutes on Sunday against San Antonio. Should get more opportunity without Fox. Should take plenty of shots. He's going to play the minutes at 6K. I think he's viable. And then Chimezie Metu, 4,700, looks like a pretty decent value play. He was a guy that I liked a lot on Sunday's slate for value. Basically, all these Kings were really good plays on Sunday. The prices didn't move that much. That's why we're kind of talking about them again. Metu at 4,700. He played 31 minutes. He's played over 30 minutes in back-to-back games. Should start once again here and play probably over 30 minutes at 4,700. He's been a pretty productive player when he gets minutes this year. I think Chimezie Metu looks like a really good value. And then assuming Rashawn Holmes is out again, I think we should expect Tristan Thompson to start. Probably split the center minutes with Damian Jones. On Sunday, you had Thompson play 29 minutes, put up 20 DK points. Damian Jones didn't play as many minutes, but he was really productive in his minutes. He only played 19 minutes, but he scored 39 DK points. He had 23 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. With how well he played in those limited minutes, maybe they played Damian Jones a little bit more today. He's minimum salary, 3K. I think he's a viable, dart throw on this slate if you do want to go there. But really the starters, almost the entire starting lineup, I want to say, Barnes, Halliburton, Hield, Metu, Thompson. I think all these guys are in play. I don't know if I'd be playing all 5 in one lineup, but you're definitely going to be looking to roster some Kings today. Just with how shorthanded they are, with missing Fox, Holmes, Davis, Lynn, Mitchell. They're just running a tight rotation. They basically ran like an 8-man, even like 7-man rotation on Sunday. We might see them do the same thing here for Monday night's game. So really, really like these Kings guys. And then on the Warriors side, the Warriors are actually kind of shorthanded right now. So we know Klay Thompson, James Wiseman is still not ready to play yet. But also Andrew Wiggins and Jordan Poole are both out. They're both in health and safety protocols. So with Wiggins and Poole both out, I mean, Steph Curry, like, he's going to just get a ton of usage here. It's a great matchup against Sacramento. Sacramento's been playing at the 5th fastest pace in the league this year. I think, Curry at 11,800, he's not a guy that's going to project incredibly well at this salary. Like, you're definitely overpaying for Steph right now. I mean, Steph, you look at the game log, I mean, he's not been good. Like, his last good game was against the Clippers, and that was 10 games ago. That was like almost a month ago. Had 62 DK points. I mean, at 11,800, we want 60-plus DK points from Curry. I think he definitely offers that, though. He's going to take a ton of shots. He's going to get so much usage. The ball's going to be in his hands plenty. I mean, I think Steph's a good pay-up option. I think Draymond, I don't know how much Draymond's role really changes without Wiggins and without Poole. We know Draymond's not a guy that's really going to shoot the ball. He's just going to, get rebounds. He's going to get assists. He's going to get defensive stats. Like, that's when Draymond puts up big games, it's usually because he racks up a lot of peripherals. So I don't know if he really gets a boost without Wiggins and Poole, but in a good matchup against Sacramento, I think he's at least playable. And then we're definitely going to have to talk about some of these value guys. So we don't really know what the starting lineup's going to be like. I'd assume that probably Damian Lee starts at shooting guard for Jordan Poole, and then Otto Porter will start at small forward for Andrew Wiggins. But that's just kind of a guess. They could start Gary Payton if they wanted to. They could start maybe Juan Toscano-Anderson. I really don't know. They could start Jonathan Kuminga. They could start Moses Moody. I think Moody actually did start Friday against the Celtics, I'm pretty sure. Or Friday against Orlando. When did he? I could have swore I saw him in the starting lineup the other day. It might have been Friday against the Celtics. Let me double check that. He only played. It said he only played 10 minutes that game, but I thought he was starting. Yes, he actually did start. So Moses Moody did start Friday when Jordan Poole was out. Wiggins played that game. Do they start Moody again in place of Poole? I guess they could. My best guess, though, is going to be Damian Lee starting and Otto Porter Jr. starting. Damian Lee at 3,800, it's pretty cheap. He's not been great on a point per minute basis this year. Playing alongside Steph and Draymond's probably not going to be really good for his production either. He's mainly just going to be out there to shoot the ball. He's a pretty scoring dependent player. But in a good matchup against the Kings at 3,800, if Damian Lee winds up starting, I think he's a decent value play. And I think Otto Porter is actually a pretty good value play. Otto Porter's actually been a pretty productive player this year when he's gotten minutes. And I'd assume he jumps into the starting lineup tonight in place of Wiggins. He's 3,700 on Draftkings. I'm pretty sure he's minimum salary on Yahoo. Yeah, minimum salary on Yahoo. Otto Porter looks like one of the better, cheap options on the slate, assuming he is starting now. He did not play on Saturday. So we actually saw Saturday. That was the back-to-back. So the Warriors played Friday against Boston, and then they played Saturday against the Raptors. And on Saturday, on the second half of the back-to-back, they rested everybody. Curry didn't play. Wiggins was out. Poole was out. Draymond was out. Otto Porter was out. Iguodala was out. That game, they started Kuminga, Lee, Looney, Toscano-Anderson, and Chiozza. Now, obviously, you don't expect those guys to start today. Given that Lee and Kuminga started, maybe that gives, I guess, a possibility that Kuminga could maybe start today. But I'd assume that Porter will be in there to replace Kuminga since Porter did not play on Saturday. So if Otto Porter does start at 3,700, given how he's been a pretty decent point-per-minute player this year in a good matchup against Sacramento, I think Otto Porter would definitely be one of the better cheap plays on the slate. And if by some chance, they change up the starting lineup and it's a little bit different than what we expect, whoever winds up starting, whether it's Kuminga, I don't think I'd be playing Moody if he starts, but I think if Kuminga starts, he'd be viable. I think if Iguodala were to start, he'd be viable. It's probably it, though, from Golden State. Starting lineup here is going to be really important. It sucks that this is one of the late-night games, so we're not going to have their starting lineup until way after lock, but definitely be ready to make some adjustments, if the starting lineup is a little bit different than what we expect. But last game of the night, San Antonio and the Clippers. So on San Antonio today, Dejounte Murray at the top, 9,800. I think on this slate looks pretty appealing as a pay-up option. Dejounte Murray is a guy that I've had a lot of interest in all season. Pretty much any slate he's on, I always kind of consider playing up for him. On this slate with a lot of key studs questionable, Embiid questionable, Jason Tatum questionable, Curry's really expensive, Donovan Mitchell's been priced up a lot. I think Dejounte Murray at 9,800 looks kind of appealing here. I like him a decent amount on DraftKings. I think on Yahoo you can definitely play Dejounte Murray over there. He's $42. He's $3 cheaper than Steph. I think Steph you could definitely go to at $45, but we'll just plug in Dejounte Murray for now, $42 on Yahoo. Look, we know what Dejounte Murray's going to do when he's on the court. He's going to produce at a high rate. He gives you triple-double upside. He's going to stuff the stat sheet. He's going to score points, get rebounds, get assists. He can get defensive stats too. He's priced where he should be at 9,800. I think he's definitely priced, kind of at his ceiling, his, peak, whatever his price should be. I don't think he's ever going to get much more expensive than this rest of season. But that doesn't mean he can't have a good game at this price point. I mean, we saw him go for 56 DK points against Utah, had, 53 against Golden State. Earlier this year against the Clippers, had 60 against the Clippers in 38 minutes. Like, he went nuts against them earlier this season. I think Dejounte Murray at 9,800 looks like a pretty good pay-up option on this 6-game slate. I think the rest of the Spurs are not nearly as appealing. Derek White was really, really bad on Sunday, but I would expect him to bounce back here. I think he's a fine tournament play. I think Jakob Poeltl, now that his price has come down a little bit to 6,200, I think he's viable too. Don't love him, but I think he's playable. Then Keldon Johnson's a fine option. Lonnie Walker been playing a little bit better lately off the bench. If you want to continue to ride the hot hand with Lonnie Walker, I think he's viable. Devin Vassell did start on Sunday in place of Doug McDermott. He played 28 minutes. If Vassell winds up starting again at 4,100, he would be a viable cheap play. But that's really it from San Antonio. I think Dejounte Murray is my main interest on this Spurs team. And then on the Clippers, it's really tough to talk about the Clippers right now until we get word on Paul George. So Paul George is questionable. Paul George has been out for a while. He's been out for like 2 weeks now. I don't know when Paul George is going to return. If he does play today, really that's going to take me off every Clipper, because like you look at the prices on these guys, like they've all been priced way up for this time that Paul George has been out. So there would be like no standout plays from the Clippers if Paul George is back. And then Paul George himself, if he does play, and we don't really know what we're going to get from him, given he's been out for 2 weeks. There could maybe be a minutes restriction. The price point's pretty high as well. Like the Clippers honestly might just be a full fade for me. I think the only way I consider any Clippers today is if Paul George remains out. But even then, like Reggie Jackson, 7,600. Luke Kennard is 6 freaking K. Terrence Mann at 5,400 might be my favorite play if PG's out. I think he'd be viable. He played 41 minutes against OKC the other night. I think with Marcus Morris out as well, that does free up big minutes for Terrence Mann. So it's kind of just a wait and see here with Paul George's status. If he plays, I'm pretty much off all the Clippers. If he's out again, then I think we could look at some of these guys. Terrence Mann would probably be my favorite. Maybe Nicholas Batum at 4,500 could be viable. He only played 25 minutes, but he probably would get close to 30 minutes here. Justice Winslow did start last game. He played 26 minutes. If he were to somehow start again in place of Paul George, then maybe we could go there. Or in place of Marcus Morris. I'd assume the starting lineup is going to be Reggie, Kennard, Terrence Mann, Justice Winslow. I can't remember if Batum started last game or not. I think that was on Saturday. I wasn't paying attention, I'll be honest. So Batum did come off the bench. So, I guess if Batum comes off the bench again, I wouldn't be as interested in him. But if Winslow starts, he's only 3,400. He'd be a viable value play. But it's a tough situation to monitor right now, or to gauge right now. We got to get an update on Paul George before we can really get too interested in many of these Clippers. But that's it, guys. That's all 6 games. Broke every team down, broke every game down. Hope you guys did enjoy this breakdown. I appreciate you watching the video. Again, if you did enjoy, please do hit the like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well if you have not yet. Go check out the sponsor of the video, Prize Picks. Go sign up for Prize Picks. Use code NOAH when you sign up, and they will match your first deposit up to $100. Prize Picks will give you a free bet when you do sign up with my code. And again, if you want some of my favorite picks each day on Prize Picks, along with the entries that I have my money on myself, the entries that I am playing, you can check out the Patreon, link down below in the description. I do give all my Prize Picks plays away on Patreon, along with all of my updated DFS content. Plus, you can get in our Discord chat where you can ask me questions throughout the day. I'm always in Discord to answer you guys' questions. A lot of additional content is provided on Patreon. Check all that out if you are interested. Link down below in the description. But that's it, guys. Best of luck on this 6-game slate. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. We will see you in the next one. Peace.